What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and the Boston Red Sox have about a month left until they are able to sign free agents / make trades. And I know I feel like I say this at the beginning of every video now, but it's because it's driving me nuts. I'm stressed out as much as I could possibly be stressed out because this feels like such a pivotal offseason for the future of this Red Sox team. And if you're like me, you're going nuts as well. We've got a month until the free agent signing period kicks off, as well as the trading period kicks off, and it feels like that's a decade. I'm trying so hard to try and figure out where the Red Sox are going this offseason, and it could just go any way. There are a million different ways this Red Sox offseason could go, but one of the biggest parts of an offseason for any MLB team is money, right? How much money do the Red Sox have to spend this offseason? And the money side of baseball kind of sucks. It's really brutal, and it can be super confusing as well. So because we have so much time in between now and free agency, I figured this was the perfect opportunity to make a video breaking down the Red Sox financials and how much they have to spend this offseason, try and make it a little bit easier to digest for you guys. But before I get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It helps these videos out a ton and would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. So the first thing to look at when you're looking at any MLB team's financial status is the fact that there's no hard cap in baseball, meaning technically a team could spend as little or as much as you'd like, and you see that throughout this entire league. However, there are taxes set up in place to try and prevent teams from spending an absorbent amount of money and keep the playing field fair, and those are called luxury taxes. If a team goes above a luxury tax, they pay a tax to the league for the amount they've spent on their payroll. So the technical answer to that question of how much the Red Sox have to spend this offseason is unlimited, right? They could technically spend as little or as much as they want. Life isn't that simple. Money is certainly not that simple, and baseball isn't that simple. And most owners like to stay either right below that luxury tax threshold, right on that luxury tax threshold, or right above that luxury tax threshold. Obviously, there are outliers on both sides, but for the most part, people try and stay right in that middle ground. Now, for 2023, the luxury tax threshold for baseball, or the first luxury tax threshold for baseball, is $233 million, meaning that any team that goes over that in baseball is going to have to pay a fine, basically. And for the Red Sox in 2023, their payroll, before we include anything else, right, just the money that they are guaranteed to be spending in 2023, is $112,075,000. So the Red Sox budget, again, before we add anything else, if you take the $233 million and subtract the Red Sox current budget from it, is $120,925,000. That is a ton of money, right? If the Boston Red Sox got past the World Series this year in 2023 and entered the free agent market with $120 million, basically $121 million to spend, this would be an entirely different video, right? That is an insane amount of money to be able to spend this offseason. You could get literally anyone in the league and probably still be under the luxury tax, and that would be in a perfect world. But obviously, this isn't a perfect world, and money is definitely not perfect, and baseball isn't simple. So we've got to add some other stuff into that equation to get the true value that the Red Sox have to spend this off season. The first thing that needs to be added in is arbitration values. Now, if you don't know what arbitration is, it's the first 6 years of a player's career in baseball. They go through what is an arbitration process, which is basically the player comes to the organization and says, hey, I'm worth this much money. The organization says to the player, no, you're worth this much money. And if they agree, they sign a contract. If they don't, they go to a neutral third party who decides, yes, the player is worth that amount, or yes, the ownership is going to pay you that amount. So it's basically just a debate between how much money a player is worth before they hit free agency. Now, MLB Trade Values put out their predictions for what the Red Sox are going to have to spend in arbitration values. Now, this isn't an exact science, right? Don't take this word for word. This is more so just a good starting point. Obviously, there are going to be players who aren't on this arbitration list. They either get dropped or traded or whatnot, and there are going to be players who get paid less than what is put on this list and more that's put on this list. But at the end of the day, it's not a perfect science. No one's going to be able to fully predict what the Red Sox pay in arbitration. So this is a good place to start. And the total for arbitration should be somewhere around this value. Now, MLB Trade Values has the Boston Red Sox with a total of $41.5 million to spend on arbitration players. That puts the total that the Red Sox have to spend in this 2023 offseason at $79,425,000. Now, this is, again, before anything else. There are qualifying offers that the Red Sox need to take into consideration. Those are guys who are most likely going to be JD Martinez, Michael Wacha, Nate Eovaldi. Those are guys who could possibly get a qualifying offer, which is about $19 million a year. And you got to remember that there is a ton of time in between now and when free agency opens, so extensions could be on the board as well. Plus, on top of that, like I said, trade values predictions aren't an exact science, so there may be some wiggle room there. So we're going to put the Red Sox official budget for the 2023 offseason somewhere between $78 million and $82 million. Somewhere in there is the sweet spot the Red Sox have to spend in this 2023 offseason. And that's not a small amount of money to spend by any means. Somewhere between $78 and $82 million is a ton in free agency. Plus, on top of that, you have to remember too that this is just to reach that luxury tax threshold. There are two options the Red Sox have going into this 2023 offseason. The first is ownership says, hey, look, we went over the luxury tax last year. It didn't work out well, but I want this team to be successful for the future. I don't just want them to be successful in 2023. I want them to be successful for the next, decade, something like that. Obviously, that's probably what they're going to do. They're going to look at whoever's in charge of finances and making the budget and say, look, we're going to go over the luxury tax this year to fully ensure our future and make sure that we have the right pieces for the right price on this team going forward. The other option is they say, hey, we went over the luxury tax this year. That sucked. We ended up in last place. If we're going to keep doing this the way we're doing it and try and grow internally and organically, we're going to have to stay under that luxury tax this year. And we're going to have to kind of really budget ourselves in between that $233 million luxury tax. And it could really go either way, in my opinion. This is one of the other reasons I'm stressed out, right? They could go out and they could say, yeah, we're going to spend until we decide that this team is fit, or they're going to say, we don't want to hit that luxury tax again, tighten up the budget to that $80 million. But either way, $80 million is a lot of money. That is definitely enough to at least, at the bare minimum, extend some cornerstone players. I'll give you a hint. They're hanging on the wall behind me, and go out of the organization and get some pieces that really could improve this team. I'm talking starting pitching. I'm talking relieving. I'm talking an outfield power bat, stuff like that, right? You have that in the budget, even if you don't want to go over the luxury tax. So in my opinion, the Red Sox have always kind of made excuses for why they didn't go after a certain free agent or why they didn't extend a certain homegrown talent. But this year, they simply don't have the ability to say money is a problem, right? $80 million is not a small amount of money. And if they go out and they say, yeah, we couldn't sign Xander, or we didn't sign Mitch Haniger or someone like that because we just simply couldn't fit into their budget, that is a bold-faced lie. At the end of the day, what it breaks down to is before we get into anything else, the Boston Red Sox have around $80 million to spend this offseason. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of that? Are you excited by that? Does it make you nervous? What are your thoughts on the Red Sox budget and how they're going to spend it this offseason? Let me know all your thoughts down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Like I said at the beginning, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Plus, you made it to the end of this video, you might as well hit that sub button. You also might as well hit that like button as well. Helps these videos out a ton and would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seat.